All right, guys, good afternoon. Welcome aboard to the After Market Recap. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. It is 5:30 Eastern Standard Time here, February 9th, 2022 on a Wednesday. Let's go over it. Before we begin, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little white logo. Click on that, turn on notifications, subscribe to our channel. Like our videos, please. If you like these videos, it really makes a big difference in terms of the YouTube algorithm. So again, thanks again if you press the like button. Let's go ahead and get started. Dow Jones up 305 points today. Nice. NASDAQ up 2.08%. And the S&P closed up 1.45%. Some key levels we have to look at here. We'll take a look at this in a second. Look at the Vix down below 20. Remember, I've been saying that for a while now since I've been doing the morning notes, that anything below 20 on the Vix, A, that's pretty bullish. And B, remember when we were spiking up around 30, 32? Again, I talked to you guys about reversion to the mean on the VIX, and that's what happened. Reverted back to that same kind of window. That 17 to 20 level is kind of where we stay at. Sometimes we'll get to 16, but between 16 and 20, that's where you kind of stay around with the VIX, with spikes here and there. Equal weight S&P up 1.69%, so again, gains across all sectors and the S&P. Dollar index was down 0.10%, 95.55. The 10-year yield fell today, 1.929%. That's where we are in terms of the yield, but lost 25 basis points. Gold up 0.34%, 171.21 on GLD. We caught the 171 calls on that. Congratulations, team, if you got that with us. Silver 21.53. High yield credit was up today, 84.06. So again, you can see some bond buying here. Also investment grade bonds as well, 125.63, up 0.34%. Small caps did excellent today, up 1.85%, 27.8 on the Russell. We have some longs on the future side. Crude oil is back above 90 post crude oil inventories. We actually had a larger draw than expected, so crude was up 0.75%. Gasoline futures up 1.2%. We know the drill with gas. We're still waiting for that $100 level. Gold being up 0.34%, silver being up 1.06%. Bitcoin futures, again, a nice day. We went around 44.8 or so. Bitcoin didn't really crack that 45K yet. Ethereum having a nice day, 32.45. It's just down on the future side right now, but it had a nice day throughout all crypto. So taking a look at today's action, we also got Disney reporting earnings. Disney smashed it, $1.06 EPS versus a 57-cent estimate. 21.8 billion versus a 21.2 billion dollars in revenue. Disney Play Plus subscriber, this is the big one, 129.8 million versus 118.1 million quarter over quarter. The expectation was 127 million. That's amazing. That's really great news for Disney. Again, I think a lot of people were kind of putting Disney down a little bit, kind of lumping them into the streaming. I had a question on that on the aftermarket recap a couple of sessions ago. If you want to go and take a look, I got a question regarding Disney, and they asked, "Oh, do you think Disney will pop?" And I said, "I do. I think Disney will be strong and have a good quarter. They're more than just a streaming service. I don't know why they've been lumped into that Netflix sort of thing, but that's not what they are. They're a lot more than that. They're a great brand. Netflix is up marginally on the news, but really Disney taking the cake." Right now, 159.25. How do you play it here? What do you want to do if you're in terms of a Disney trader? So we are now 159.34. Again, we filled the gap, 155. You can see right here, 155.09. We're basically right around the 100-day. So the good news is that there's some key levels to look for. A break of 163.47. There is an upside gap to fill at 173. I'd probably go with the 175s possibly for next week. There's a short week next week. But again, if there's an opportunity, but you have to break 163.47. Depending on tomorrow, if we get some analyst upgrades on Disney, that might be an opportunity. So keep that on your watch list for next week. I wouldn't do it for this week. Your premiums will get toast, especially as the only Thursday and Friday remaining. Uber also reported earnings. They're up after hours. You can see a nice boost, even though Lyft didn't have the best of all quarters. Uber lost 44 cents. Versus a 33-cent estimate, so again, not the best there on EPS, but their revenue was better than expected. It's 5.78 billion versus a 5.39 billion. Their guidance was better than expected. EBITDA 100 to 130 million, and the gross bookings was 25 to 26 billion. Monthly active platform users, 118 million people are monthly active platform users on Uber. That's a 27% increase year over year. I think that's where this big boost came from on Uber. Again, nicely done. I do own shares. And one more here is Twilio. That's a question I get a lot of. Twilio, nice bounce, nice move to the upside, excuse me. Now trading at 241.50, close at 202. Again, these are more of the high betas. The only issue here is that they had a negative EPS of 20 cents, but they did do better than expectations, negative 21. You can see $842.7 million in revenue versus $769 million in revenue. That's great. Their guidance was to negative 26 cents to negative 22 cents versus a negative 10 cent estimate. And their revenue forecast was 855 million to 865 million, which was a better than expected guidance. So again, the guidance in terms of EPS is not there. That means they're not profitable just yet, but their revenue is growing. So again, that is a strong thing to see if you're a high beta shareholder of like a Palantir, a Blink, a GME, a Riot, those names, Twilio, SoFi, DraftKings, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to make a difference in terms of at least are they growing sales, because remember, there was a time that Amazon had negative EPS, a time when Tesla had negative EPS, and that doesn't tell the full tale. Again, when it comes to profitability, it's pretty easy just to lay off people whenever, cut costs and cut corners. But you can't manufacture demand for your service. Demand is sales. Sales sells all. Sales solve all. There you go. That's kind of the tongue twister. But again, nice day in the market. Again, we talked about the VIX. You can see the VIX dropping back down below 20. What does that tell us? It tells us that now we have a little more downside on the VIX, possibly to 1915. That's pretty much as good as we're going to get to around maybe 46.30. More than likely on the S&P, we'll probably hit a little wall of resistance pretty soon, right around 46.07. You can see that we closed above the 38.2 fib of 45.81. That's a great sign. Remember, we talked about the analogy with the football field. Now we're in enemy territory. Now we're in field goal range, let's just say. Once we get to 46.67, we're in the red zone. That tells you that touchdown all-time highs. Kind of been thinking that way. Super Bowl is this Sunday, so don't mind me. Above the 100-day moving average on the daily is very, very key on the S&P. That's great to see if you're a bull. And again, you can see that 50-day at 46.06. The VIX should come down and possibly test 1646 before we get to 46.67. And then you're starting to get into closing to levels where it may be a little overbought and you may want to take a little profits. I've told our investment club, you see that NQ on the right side, 15,241.29 is your 50% retracement on the NASDAQ futures. If you are looking to close the high betas, let's say you have a Twilio, you have an ARKK, you have a Roku, a Neo, and you're trying to get out and try to salvage what you can, that's a good spot to do it because that's major resistance on the NASDAQ. We may get a rejection there, possibly a triple top. And again, all these high betas are on the NASDAQ. So again, the NASDAQ being up, more than likely your high betas are doing well. If you just want to cut them off and get rid of them, you need to get rid of them before 15,241 because we could break, sure, but that's a risk to take. If it breaks 15,241, then all bets are off and then we're bouncing. And again, the bottom was called, again, like we said, 42.60. Enough with the stuff. All right, let's talk to the audience. GS says, hey, Carlos. Hey, GS. End of the year target price for Disney. Well, Disney's quarter was absolutely great. And again, I love this company very much. So let's go ahead and take a look where I would say it would be. I would say we'll tap by end of year 173.50, that daily gap fill that we had on earnings from November. There. Tesla says CPI tomorrow. That's right. That's the consumer price index. That'll be at 8:30 in the morning. So either this right here is a front run ahead of a better than expected CPI, or just one big bull trap where, again, we may reject and get back down to 45.10, which I think would be the worst case scenario in terms of CPI being extremely hot. Also thinking about Tesla calls again, 10.50 for February 18th. That's for next week. Those premiums will be a little pricey, so I'd skip it. You think if CPI comes lower, we'll rally? Absolutely. If CPI is better than expected, we will rally to 46.05 at the minimum. That's as good enough for 24 handles. What I think that we'll sort of 46.67, if we close above the 50 at 46.07, consider that a win for all of the bulls. Absolutely. When is BABA earnings, and what do you think? I love BABA's earnings. There's not a problem with BABA in terms of their profitability. They make amazing money. They have a great profit to earnings ratio. So it's not like they don't make money. It's just that they happen to be in China, the land of regulation and nonsense. So that's what happens. If you take a look at Alibaba's earnings, let's take a look at it here. Alibaba's earnings are on the 8th. I guess it should be today, if anything, or maybe it did come out, but I didn't see any earnings for Alibaba as of yet. Let's see. I didn't get anything in terms of Alibaba as of yet, so maybe it'll be tomorrow, if anything. But it says here, February 15, 2022, according to the NASDAQ. So that'll be next week. Alibaba will be reporting their earnings. I will send out, let's see here, BABA, EPS. Yeah, sorry about that. I was looking at some numbers on what is it, Alibaba. Sorry about that. But with that being said, again, that'll be on the 15th, day after Valentine's Day. Alibaba will report earnings. I will not be here all next week, guys. I will be in Colorado. So Friday's morning note, that'll be it. The next week I'm gone. When I come back, morning note and afternoon market recap. I'll remind you guys on Friday. Do you think Disney will dump tomorrow? I don't. I think Disney continues to run. Again, 158.60. As long as we hold above 153.41, this has more upside. But it needs to break 163, guys. 163 needs that break, and then you can target the gap fill to 173.53 on Disney. Possibly buy you some time. Can you try and explain why Square jumped so much today? Opportunity to put tomorrow. Love your work. Thanks for the backs today. You're welcome, Philippe. We had a great day in terms of signals today. We had an amazing day. So shout out to the team. Absolutely did an amazing job. In terms of Square, guys, you have to understand these high betas. Again, I kind of repeat it over and over. The Blinks of the world, the GMEs, the Riots, the Snaps, the Modernas. I guess you want to call it Moderna. I would say SoFi, DraftKings, Roku, Neo, Square being one of them. They run together. And you can see they were all pretty much green today. So did Square do anything different today than yesterday? No. Some good news happened is that Apple is going to now have tap to pay, and you can use Bitcoin to pay for things. I personally wouldn't use Bitcoin to pay for anything, but again, what do I know? But again, that helps out, crypto. Again, these are higher yielding assets. The growth companies, we know the names, Palantir and all that. Even Facebook got some bits today, up 5.37%. Space being up another 4.93%. Remember, guys, it's a lot more to go. It's not like, today you can be happy, don't get me wrong, but these high beta names have a lot more to go and a lot more to make up because Square, just in October, was at 266. It's now at 112. At the high, it was at 289. So, again, I'm happy to be a Square shareholder. I am playing the long game. I have no problem. But again, there's a lot more to go to the upside. So, yes, there is more risk. There's more reward to the upside than there is risk down below. But again, if we have a really hot CPI number, that means interest rates will go higher. The Fed will be more aggressive in terms of hiking rates in March, which is pretty much a certainty in terms of they are going to raise rates. And then these high betas are going to take a little bit of a hit. That's why I'm saying 15,241 on NASDAQ. That's where your level, that's up to there. That's your opportunity to pull the parachute if you wanted to sell. I'm not. Do you like the Uber 45 calls for a possible run-up tomorrow? I'd have to see the price action in the morning. Again, CPI will affect Uber tomorrow. So again, I know where your head's at in terms of where it is, and maybe there's an opportunity there for some more upside. Again, you can see kind of the top range of that of this cluster here, kind of a head and shoulders. But again, we are at 42.75 above the daily 100. Could it be an opportunity? Yes. You have to wait for CPI tomorrow at 8:30. That's really the only thing. It's not like you get into it now. But again, if we have a better than expected CPI, yeah, the 46 calls on Uber is not a bad idea. I'd buy a week in terms of time. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I appreciate you, as always, joining me. Please hit that like button if you love these videos and analysis. I'm glad to do it every day for you. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note with that CPI number. If you're looking for always updates throughout the day and evening sometimes, take a look at our Twitter page, G.A.R Capital. We had that BA trade. That was a freebie for you guys. Went ahead and put some of that unusual options activity. We caught it for a nice 40, 45%. So again, we hope that you joined it too. Have a good one, guys.